go get my drink. I'll be right back. I have my hot cider, and I have a live for you guys. I'm gonna make this live. Good stuff, Maynard. You know what movie I want to watch so bad? Matilda. I want to watch Matilda. And just watch it. So I have my cider here. I have my fall pajamas on, so it's fall, y'all. Hi, Sally Joe. Sorry, I lost power for a minute, guys. Welcome back if y'all are coming back. Hey, Sally, good to see ya. I hope everybody's having a good night. I am so excited for spooky season to come. I do have another channel. It is called Adulting with Me. If you want to check that one out. This one's called Life's Journey. But yeah, I got my nails done the other day. And today has been a good day. It's supposed to rain. Pray over it, pray through it. Pray on it, pray over it, pray through it is what my cup says. I am putting your Christmas present in the mail. And I also have a present for you as well. I know you sent me your, but because it's at my sister's house, you're gonna have to, I'll email you the name it has to be under, because I have to get my mail at her house, and if she sees my name, she'll try to open it. So, because I live out in the sticks. Hello. Yeah, it's just been crazy. But yeah. So I'm gonna tell you a story time. So I canceled my Disney Plus subscription a while ago because I've always wanted to watch Matilda, and every time I tried to watch Matilda on there, it never works. So I had been paying like $15. Now it's gone up because they bundle Hulu, ESPN, and all that together. I just found out they canceled Jimmy Kimmel. I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel with like my dad, and he has since passed on. And I was like, what? Seriously? I was so shocked. I was like, where have I been? I know I work full time, but dang. Hello, good morning to you too. Sorry for the late response, but I was just like, wow. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I ordered a DVD thing of it I used to have it on VHS, and I still have a VHS player. You know, it's so sad they don't make VHS anymore. That'd be so cool if they did. Yeah, I thought about that. I bought it on Amazon. Cause see, I did call my local library and ask if they had it. And they're like, no, we don't have that. And they're like, check Disney Plus or Hulu or... And I was like, okay. But I loved Miss Honey on there. She was my favorite character. How's the weather in New York? Yeah, so the weather here has been rainy. It's been spotty. My power went out Monday, so I have to work 2 to 3 hours tomorrow. But I can go in whenever, so it's not a set time. Oh, good. I love fall weather. I'm jealous. Yesterday it was 80 and today it's like colder. I took off for my birthday and he still hasn't approved my birthday. And I took it off on August 16th, so that should have given him enough time. But he still hasn't. And the other day I got in hot water because of my, okay, when I would come back from my breaks, I would try to click, because we have this system where you can, when you're on, after you get off a call, you have this thing where it says like break time, and you can click this little thing. And I clicked it and I tried to click it back on, and I tried to get it to work and it wouldn't work. And he said you can't go over either 2 15-minute breaks or 3 10-minute breaks or 5 or 7 5-minute breaks. So I was like, okay. So he got on to me for that. Then I asked if I could have Mondays off, and I don't think they're gonna give it to me. So I did work with my school, and they're not gonna do classes on Mondays, so I won't have that problem anymore. So they were like, hey, we can change your schedule, you know, what have you. I was like, okay, cool. And the fair is in my mom's hometown. I didn't get to, okay, the day we went and got our nails done was on Wednesday, okay? I was supposed to, because I flew down here, I didn't have my car with me, or I flew down there. I'm back home now, obviously, I'm in my house. We were sitting there, and I tell her, hey, I ordered an Uber, and they canceled the Uber. Because apparently they don't take Visa, credit card, or American Express, or some kind of credit card anymore. And I didn't want to put it on my debit card because they charge you extra. So I was like, oh my gosh. I should have just drove down there and had my car with me. Yeah. Tell me some of your favorite fall movies that y'all like to watch. And what's your favorite holiday fall drink? And what's your favorite holiday? I'm sorry I'm licking my lips. It's just like, I burnt my lip the other day, and it just feels weird. And I'm like, okay. But if you hear weird stuff or thunder in the background, I am gonna do a house tour coming up. Oh, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving is a good one. I used to watch that with my, when I first started preschooling. For preschool, I'm a preschool teacher. So, I was preschooling some of the kids, and each year, my first 2 years, I showed It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, and It's a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and on Christmas, I would show like a Mickey Mouse Once Upon a Christmas or something like that, and the kids liked it. So every month as a preschool teacher, we do birthdays. And we do the kids for September, we do the kids for October, and, and we have to do sunflower, instead of like peanut butter or things like that, we have to do the sunflower stuff, sunflower butter or whatever it's called. So, and I have a kid who's allergic to high fructose corn syrup, and the parents didn't tell us at registration, and one of the teachers gave him a candy, and because I know how to use an EpiPen, I had to help the little boy. That was the embarrassing thing that happened on Friday. And so they made a rule at my preschool that none of the teachers could give candy. Hey, how are you, dog? Hey, dog. So yeah, that was what happened to me today. So we were just trying to Friday, and then today I worked my other job. So I work 2 jobs, and I absolutely love it. I work from home, and then I do the preschooling. And they kind of cut my preschool room in half, so now I have 28 students instead of 30, and it's really, really nice because 2 of the kids were still 2, and they were not old enough to be in my class, and they were put in the wrong class, and then it was fun. But yeah. Yeah, so hey, how are you? Yeah. But yeah, we celebrated the September birthdays. And I have 2 kids in my class that that's good to hear. Hello. And I'm doing great as well. So 2 kids in my class celebrate the same birthday day as I do. Mine is October 31st. So I told them I'd get them a special gift. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to get a preschool because their parents are super religious. They're twins, and it's really cool. I've only had a set of twins in my class twice. Hi, everybody who's coming in the chat. And it was really fun. My first year of teaching, I gotta tell this embarrassing story. So I have a teacher that is in the room with me. She is like the assistant, and she kind of helps me wrangle the kids. I'm the head teacher, and So the first day I get there, she was 2 hours late. This was my first day of teaching. And so, and we teach the Montessori method, or I don't know what certain people call it, but I work for a Montessori school. Um, so then I was sitting there, and she was 2 hours late. She comes in, and she smelled so bad of smoke that it was so bad. So the lady who was like the head of the all of us, she goes, "Hey, you're doing great so far without the teacher." And that day I only had 10 kids because 4 of which were out with COVID. So that was good. And I was like, you know what? Just let me handle it, and I'll handle it by myself. It's almost the end. So she shows up, she puts her head down on the desk, and she vomited everywhere. So we had to clean that up. I had to get the kids in another room because we have like a separate room where they take a nap, and we have a separate room that's like the classroom play area. And so that was embarrassing. Yeah, I'm still thinking about the gift I'm going to get the kids because their parents are super strict, like I said, and I don't know what to get them. They're very religious, and I don't want to overstep. So that's the dilemma I've been having. And they're 3 and 4. Well, one's 4. I have 3 kids that have October birthdays. One is the 29th, and then the twins are 3, and their birthday is October 31st. Yeah, I grew up with a single parent. Like, when I say I grew up with a single parent, I did. My sister raised me, yes, she was married, but she kind of raised me on her own because her husband worked full time, so he wasn't really there, and it was just me and her, and sometimes it was me and her and my nephews. So, and being adopted by a single mom, um, also I think about kids because there were times where I really wanted something but I couldn't have it. And my mom, did the best she could with what she had. And it was very hard because I was a sickly child. So, yeah. But now I'm doing great. I wish my hair would stop sticking up, but that's a different story for a different day. So, and I was going to tell you all a funny story time about my sister. And so when I was 16 and a half, I had this attitude that I knew everything and nobody was going to teach me nothing. That was my attitude. So one day, it was on Christmas break of my freshman year of college, I believe. Yeah, because she was still alive when I went to my freshman year of college. And so I go to my freshman year of college, and I'm coming back, and their house is very big. It has a lot of steps. It's a very spacious house. Like, there's a lot of rooms. And I walk in the door, and it had been hot where I was going to school. It was like 100 degrees. So when I went to their house, it was snowing. Didn't know this. Hadn't been there before. Hadn't gone. And it was the first time I had seen my brother-in-law since I was the flower girl at their wedding. And I hadn't really saw my brother-in-law a lot. I would see him here and there, but not, like, all the time. So I come in the door, I'm wearing flip-flops, I'm wearing short shorts, and I'm wearing a tank top. And he looks at me. He had glasses on, and they were kind of at the bridge of his nose, and he just looks at me like, really? I was like, it was 100 degrees where I was at, so I put some sweatpants on, and I come downstairs, and I had my little Gucci, the Gucci Couture, how it's like Juicy Couture. Why do I keep calling it? So it said Juicy on the hind end, and on the chest it would say Juicy Couture, and I was wearing Viva La Juicy. Okay. And so I walked down, and I'm walking, and I had my crutches for support if I needed them, but I was doing a little bit of walking, and I go into the living room, and he goes, "Oh, that's better. There's Juicy on your hiney. That's really great." And my sister's like, "Don't wear that because it's gonna bring attention to your derriere, and we don't want that attention." And my biological mom's like, "It's fine. She's covered. Better than what she was wearing when she showed up." So we're sitting in the house, and it was, they had planned a family vacation, but we didn't get to go. And that's where the family vacation, where we all went to the resort, came into play, because we were supposed to go on a family vacation together. And something came up and we couldn't do it, and she postponed it till 2009, but my brother-in-law could not be there, so it was just me, her, and the kids. So we're talking, and we're back, and mind you, this is December of 2007. So and so I'm walking around, and I'm, putting my stuff up. I have flip-flops on, and I'm not the graceful person. I try to be, but I had just recently had my first scoliosis surgery. So I was, getting used to the scoliosis. I had had it since birth, but we didn't know the diagnosis till I was much older. So I'm sitting there. Me and my nephews are playing goldfish. And I decided to go upstairs because I'm like, I want to get a shower. I want to get, ready for tomorrow, because me and my sister were going to go to Starbucks, and my brother-in-law's like, "No, you're not." He, he wasn't too happy about that one. Yeah, so I was like, okay. So we ended up going to Starbucks, and she's like, "You're going to have to drink this whole coffee before we get back to your brother-in-law." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, "But it's a large." And she's like, "Just drink it. We'll go to Barnes & Noble. We'll look around. You drink your coffee, and then we'll go have lunch." So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this was me. And I had my pumpkin spice latte, and I'm doing this. And she's hitting every bump, every red light. So she's doing the soccer mom arm save, okay? And I'm like, I'm pretty much wearing pumpkin. I love drinking pumpkin spice coffee. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I want to wear it as cologne. And yeah. And she would drive 90 to nothing. And I was like, I was holding on to the coffee. I was holding on to her coffee, a cake pop. And she's like, "Where do you want to go to lunch?" And I'm like, I'm glad I'm wearing a Christmas sweater, because nobody can see that the coffee had stained right in this area. And so she's sitting there, and at that time I was engaged to James, so I was going on and on about the wedding, and she's just like, oh yeah, that's great. And she's like, and she was actually the second family member that met him. My brother-in-law was the third, and my brother-in-law made him pee his pants. So he didn't really like my sister after that one. But yeah, they thought I was too young, and I was like, well, you were 19 when you got married. And she's like, but I wasn't 18 and a half. And I should have gotten to know myself better and stood on my own 2 feet, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I really wasn't hearing this, but she's hitting every speed bump. And every time we have to stop, she's like slamming on those brakes, and I'm going, good thing I had my seatbelt on, because I would have flown through the windshield. And she, oh my gosh, she drove so crazy. She had one foot. And one morning, because the kids were still in school, because they went to a private school, I get up with her at the booty crack of dawn, and we're just going to get the kids from school, or going to take the kids to school. And I mean, she's driving 90 to nothing. I'm holding on to my purse like this with a death grip, because I don't want to die today. And I used to joke with my sister, and I'm sorry if this joke offends anybody, but I always used to tell her, I don't want to die a virgin. Please don't let me die today. And she would be like, shut up, my driving ain't that bad. And I'm still holding on for dear life. My other sister's driving is worse. So, yeah. And I have this necklace that my sister gave me that I never wear, but I'm gonna wear it for a live. And it has our picture in it, and when I'm ready to show it, I will. But yeah, she was crazy. She had to bail me out of so much trouble. I gave that woman a poor heart attack every time the school called. She was like clutching her pearls because she was like, what has she done now? But yeah, that was my sister. And I got my love for fall, and I'm not a really big Christmas movie person because I feel like, they do Hallmark movies like Christmas in July, and I know the real season is Jesus was born around that time, and the real season is Jesus is a gift, you know? So I think Hallmark overdoes it sometimes and other things, but yeah. Yep. But yeah, it's just been crazy. But yeah, I have more teaching stories I could tell you. One of the parents, we have a thing where we call career day, where people will come and talk. Like, we had a newscaster come and talk, and we had like a weatherman come and talk to the kids, a fireman, a police officer. One of the dads is a lawyer, so he came and talked. And one dad was a doctor, and the mom was a doctor as well, and they came and talked. So yeah. I got them on Amazon. and I think they're very warm. Because this year for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's, my aunt asked that we all wear pajamas, so I got 2 sets of fall pajamas, and we're gonna do that. I am taking off, if they let me, October 31st, the 1st of November, and a couple days after that, and I am gonna be renting an Airbnb and just doing some Christmas shopping. Yeah. But yeah, me and my sister would always wear like themed pajamas like for fall around my birthday, because my birthday is October 31st. She would always get me like because I love spooky season. Halloween is my favorite. I was a bride 7 times for Halloween. I was like, if I put the positive energy, yes, I was 7 or 6, 5, 7, 8, 9. And that is when I did it for the carnival at my church. I've been a flower girl 4 times in a wedding when I was younger. I've been a maid of honor 2 times, and I've been engaged 3 times to the same person. Never got married. Now, we did have a commitment ceremony in Vegas, but my sister was not happy about that. And I never heard the end of it. And it was bad that her ex-husband saw me. Okay, to clarify, my sister was married before she married my brother-in-law, and I was still close with my first brother-in-law, as I call him, and the second brother-in-law. We don't always see eye to eye. Sometimes he was public enemy number 1 when I was growing up. But yeah, we would always do like fall pajamas, and we would always have the apple cider or hot chocolate or tea. My favorite teas are English breakfast and Irish breakfast tea. And I like green tea, and I like matcha, and I like chamomile. I played a prank on my sister one time. I'm gonna tell you the story. And it was actually on Halloween. So I was an exdevious little shiitake growing up, and I used to play pranks on my sister all the time. And one night, my sister that didn't really know me, she kind of knew me, but we weren't like close because when I was born, I think, because I was born in 1989, and she was quite a bit older than me. And she was, because my sister, who was the primary caregiver, had decided to go out on a date night with her husband. My nephews were not born yet, and so my sister was left with the beautiful task of babysitting me. And I had this weird obsession with like walkie-talkies, and I had this weird obsession with like things that had buttons on them where I could push. And I used to have these I think I still have them in my attic. I'll have to check. But back in the 90s and like late 80s, there was these tissue boxes, and they had like bathroom on it, and it had like a toilet, and if you pressed a button, it would make the flushing sound of a toilet. And if you pressed the side of the sink, it would be like the mouthwash gurgling. And I had one that was a kitchen, and like the pots and pans would So what I did, being a shiitake, I ended up, because my sister was going to stay on the couch and I was going to stay up and watch movies because I had my own TV, and I had, back in the day where you had the TV with the VCR in it. Yes, your girl had one. And so I'm sitting there watching a movie, and it was Oliver and Company, and then I was gonna watch Pocahontas because for some reason that night I just wanted to watch those two movies, and I was gonna watch Matilda. I have Matilda on VHS, and I just found out that I do have it on DVD and Blu-ray, so I'm excited. So we ended up, so I put the walkie-talkie before she came under the couch cushion, and I put one because I was really tiny, okay, at that point. I was like 50 pounds at that point. And so, I get behind the couch and I put a walkie-talkie where she can't find it. And, I tested it out, and so that night she goes to sleep because she had something to do in the morning and she was staying overnight. And I was in my room and I was pretending to be asleep. Okay? I had this bunny that would clap its hands, flop its ears, and be do these little movements, and it would have a song that would go with it. And it was purple and white and yellow and pink and all these different colors. And so I was sitting there and I started, and I had everything in the bed where she could not see it, so I could have easy access to it. So when I heard her, I would do it and I would wake her up and I would say in a very diminished voice, "Go check on Topanga. Go check on Topanga." And I would do it in this very demonic, I don't know where it came from, to be honest with you, but I would do that. So when I heard her coming, I would pretend to be asleep. And I would put the covers over my head, and then I would, when I heard her coming in, I would just hide the toys under my comforter because my comforter was big enough where she wouldn't notice it. And as soon as she walked out of the room, the bunny would start clapping its hands and flopping its ears. And she would get freaked out, so she would come back in the room, and then I would hit the tissue box that had the bathroom on it, the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom. It was like a full house, but it had all these things where it could do things, and it had a mirror, and if you did the mirror, it would sound like something was breaking. So she starts checking throughout the house. She's turning on all lights. She's coming in my room. She's checking everything. And I would hide it when she would get close to my bed so she didn't see it. And so she calls my sister, and they are at a bed and breakfast. They are 3 hours away from where we were at. And she said, "Hey, Sister Sue." Well, my sister's name is not Sue, but I don't want to put it out there. She said, "I think your house is haunted." And she's like, "Jade, what are you talking about?" And my sister is like, "I think your house is haunted because I keep hearing she's like, "I keep hearing in Topanga's room, toys will be going off, and, Ayla's in bed, Ayla's asleep, so Ayla's not touching them." And so the bunny had a rechargeable battery, so she tries to find it, and she couldn't find it, and it keeps going off, and it would just sing these it had like happy joy, 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 deep in my heart kind of song, and then another song it would play. And every time she would come near, I would play my sister's like, okay, give us a few minutes. And she's like, the first thing out of my other sister's mouth, have you been using drugs? To my sister Jay. And she's like, no. And they're like, are you drinking? Did you hallucinate this? So my brother-in-law gets on and he's like, are you sure you're okay? So he's like, okay. And my biological mother could not watch me because of CPS restrictions and everything going on with that. And so my brother-in-law had this friend, and his wife was into the dark. I love her, and she is wonderful. I call her my second mom. She is like a mom to me. And so she comes over, she checks everything's fine, and I, pretend I'm sleeping. She checks everything. All my toys are put up, and she goes, okay. And so she starts praying over the house, and then she leaves. Well, they decide to stay one more day at the bed and breakfast, and they are there, and, it's before my nephews were born, so, I keep doing it the whole night through. I keep, like, playing with the things, and she's not catching on what I'm doing. And so finally, I get up the next morning, and I put everything up, and I keep the walkie-talkies where we're at. So the next night it happens again, and she keeps getting freaked out. So she had asked a friend to come stay with her. And the friend's like, no, I gotta work, and I'm working the night shift. I can't. So she calls my sister again that raised me, and she's like, hey, I think your house is haunted. So my sister at this point is tired, and she goes, where's Ayla? And she's like, well, she's asleep. And she's like, where's Topanga? She's asleep. Okay. Where is everybody? So I had a friend sleep over, and I'm gonna call her Ayla for the purpose of this video. So Ayla was sleeping over, and Ayla knew what I was doing because I had told her, and she went along with it. And, I had the Barbie dream house that if you clicked buttons, the lights would come on. And the oven would sound like an oven, and it would beep when it was done. And then I had a little microwave that would do all these things. And so, so she calls my sister again, and she's like, hey, you need to have this place blessed. I'm worried. So my sister's like, okay, it's a 3-hour drive. We'll be back tomorrow. So she's like, just get some sleep, pray about it. So my sister sends over one of her friends. They come over, they check it out. They're like, okay, we're gonna relieve you. I'm gonna stay here tonight. And my other sister was like, no, I can stay. And she's like, okay. So she leaves. And again, I keep pressing all the buttons and making the bunny do and making the tissue box do all the sounds that came with it, and she's getting freaked out. So she keeps trying to turn the bunny off, and she puts it in the toy box. Well, what she didn't know is I had 2 bunnies. So I kept doing it, and she's like, oh my gosh. And so she checks my bed. She pulls back the cover. She doesn't see anything. She's like, okay. I'm like, get out of my room and let me sleep. So I go back to sleep. And I had this baby doll that cried. And I would just put it up to the walkie-talkie and she got freaked out. So, I waited till I graduated high school. Because for years my sister thought my other sister's house was haunted. And I waited till the night I graduated high school and I pulled Jay aside and I said, you remember that night you babysat me and you were freaking out and, you know, it was a long weekend and you babysat me for those couple days. The house wasn't haunted and I explained everything to her and she saw red. She saw red. I had to spend the night at my Auntie Lynn's house because my Auntie Lynn on my mama's side, because she was crazy. So, and her daughter was laughing so hard when I told the story, and my sister was alive at that point, and she's laughing, and my brother-in-law's like, how'd you do it? Why'd you do it? And I'm like, well, I didn't like her. But I waited until she had left the room to say that part. But I have a feeling when I have children, all the rotten and ornery stuff I did will come back to me tenfold. And see, I know my sister's up there in heaven being like, you know what, when she has her kid, I'm going to make sure it's twins, and I'm going to make sure it's 2 girls, and I'm going to make sure they're just as ornery as she is. And then I'm going to make sure that she... Yes, and she's like, it will come back to her tenfold, and she's probably up there with Jesus. You know, Jesus, let's make sure when Topanga has kids, that Topanga gets the same crap she gave me, my husband, and everybody in our family, giving us multiple heart attacks, and it's gonna come back tenfold. And so when she has her babies, they're gonna be just as ornery and rotten as her, and then I'm gonna have all these gray hairs, and we're gonna have to dye the hair blonde again to cover it because it's my natural color. And then, if that's not enough, she's gonna be okay. We did twins. Now this time, let's have a little boy in the mix. Oh, it will be a nightmare. I could just see it now. And then my sister's gonna be like, that's still live, going, you got everything you deserved. Tenfold. And then she'll throw her head back and laugh. And I can just see that now. And my daughter is going to be as rotten as I was when I'm her age. And then I'm going to have to tell her the stories of all the things I did to her aunt, who is no longer with us. And I got a question, and I'm going to address this. And it was a question, and they were like, hypothetically, if you had children, how would you talk about your sister's death, and how would you explain it to your children? No, depending on their age, because I don't want to traumatize my children at all, I will just tell them that sometimes people are only in our lives for a season, and sometimes that season is very, very short. And as they get older, if they still have questions, I'll get in more detail and just set them down and we'll talk about it. But yes, I will let my kids know that I am adopted. And I will do a video tour of the house when I get all the laundry done and everything caught up. But I want to make sure that the house is clean first. I promise. And I'm doing the 60s video. I got some Dippy Do, you know, like the curl stuff you put in your hair and you put the curl. I got some of that. I got a 60s outfit. I got a 60s purse. We're good. I'm just waiting for Amazon to deliver to my door because I live in BFE, okay? But yes, I'm gonna get my health for my raising when I have my children. Because, you know, my sister be up there being like, all the times I had to go to that school before you was homeschooled, all the times I had to drop what I was doing and come get you so you wouldn't get suspended. I'm going to give you the best gift of all. I'm going to make sure that you have 2 sets of twins that are just as ornery as the first. And then I'm going to make sure that you get everything you gave tenfold, especially to your brother-in-law and me. And no, I love you, but I could just see her up there. But yeah. And then y'all will see my craziness of me being a mom. If YouTube's still around. I'll probably never show my kid's face, but... Has anybody seen Murders in the Building? I absolutely love this season. I love binge watching it every fall, so I watch it from the beginning episodes till where we are now, and I absolutely love this season. It was so sad that Lester died. He was one of my favorite characters. He was a great doorman. Have you read any good books lately, Sally? Well, I'm gonna end it here because it's like 11:45 my time. I will do a live tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. Central Time, so I hope you're there. Kisses and bye.